Well, right now with AI, it's literally the Wild West, right? It's all things. It's just whatever you want to do. It's kind of like when drones first came out. Everybody could go buy a drone. Anybody could fly it anywhere. And then, of course, now you got restrictions about where you can fly, and you got to get pretty much a license. You got to be certified for certain height flights on your drone. We're going to have some type of guardrails, but right now there are no guardrails. It's just who's first to the market with this. That's been the focus, and that's the scary part. There's shiny objects that go with it too, and that's the part that kind of distracts some people. But if we take this back to a business owner, there are so many different things that you could do. Even a photographer can go in and start to use this, because you could line out your marketing that you're going to do for the whole year. Hey, Fred, you need to make sure that you go to the McKinney Chamber X amount of times. Here's what you need to say. Here's what you need to do. Like, for people who are not comfortable with doing that, it can become your business coach. It can become your marketing plan. It can become your accountability partner. It can become, your fitness coach. It can become your nutrition guidance. I mean, there's so many things.
Welcome to the McKinney Podcast, the show that celebrates what makes McKinney unique by nature. This podcast exists to spotlight the people, the organizations, and the events that shape our great city. You can count on every episode to tell a compelling story and help increase your awareness and perspective on what's happening around McKinney. Your hosts for this fun-filled adventure are Fred Mahusay, owner of FredShots Photography, and James Jenkins, CEO of RiskWell. Connect with us on YouTube and on our website, McKinneyPodcast.com. Now, let's get into it. So, Michael, you have the privilege of living in the best neighborhood, in the best city, in the best state, in the best country on earth.
That's right.
So, yeah, shout out to Ridgecrest.
Yep.
And your lovely bride basically said, you got to put my husband on the show. He'd be a great guest. And I said, sure, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, we're an equal opportunity storyteller.
Yeah, she works for McKinney PD, so she's not an officer, but she works as the mental health coordinator for the community service unit.
Yeah.
And so she's deeply involved with the community on a lot of different facets. And yeah, we've actually been in Ridgecrest since 2007.
Yeah, you're OG Ridgecrest.
Oh yeah,
we were from the very beginning.
We remember some of the original, like that wasn't a house yet. That was still a lot.
That was dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when 380, you could actually drive on it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that, because when we moved to McKinney, we moved in 1998, and we were living close to El Dorado, and there used to be a Blockbuster there, right?
Oh,
and it's
what's a Blockbuster?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Videos.
Yeah. But it was a Mahusay, or it's a Mahusay now. But we used to like just scroll across El Dorado. Just no. There's a car here or there, Now you got to run for your life.
That's right.
These intersections.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's changed it a lot for sure.
So this, like so many of our episodes, man, we sit down and it's like, we could really go 3 or 4 different directions.
Mm-hmm.
I think where this episode is headed is an introduction of the man sitting across from me. Is it Tritthart, or is it the H?
Yeah, you got it.
Tritthart. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's formally open the episode now that we're several minutes in. Welcome back to another episode of the McKinney Podcast. We celebrate what makes us unique by nature. Our guest for this episode is Michael Tritthart from the great city of McKinney, Texas.
That's right. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Let's just hear the background, man. Fred, hit him with that first question.
Okay, so when your feet first touched the earth, what state was that in?
I was born in the major metropolitan city of Nowata, Oklahoma.
Nowata?
Yeah.
No water or no
Yeah,
water?
pretty much, right?
So is no water named by a Bostonian?
Yeah,
Nowata.
Nowata. It's, as you can tell, card-carrying Cherokee Indian, right? And so it was up in the northeast Oklahoma, Cherokee area.
Tahlequah, Muskogee.
Yeah, we never lived there. It was Nowata. Then I lived in Coffeyville, Kansas for a little bit. Then
Okay.
we moved to put a pin in the very middle of Kansas, Salina, Kansas.
There you go.
And then we moved back to Oklahoma, and I graduated high school from Edmond Memorial and went to school in Oklahoma. And that's where I met my wife at college. And then 1995, we graduated. We did all of life's stressors except for death and divorce in about 3 weeks.
So that's what married, new job, and moving.
Yeah,
right?
Honeymoon, bought a house. moved out of state, no family down here, just picked it up and went because I was a teacher and a football coach. And my wife's uncle, she's got two uncles that are in the High School Hall of Fame for coaching football, one in Arizona, one in Texas. The one in Texas is Dennis Parker. And everybody's like, well, I don't know who that is. But if you mention Dennis Parker's name in a room full of football coaches, they're like, oh my gosh, Dennis Parker? And I'm like, yeah. He was in the book Friday Night Lights. He beat Odessa that year. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's like he's kind of an OG stud.
He's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy. And so he's like, look, if you're going to coach, you got to go to Texas. I mean, Friday Night Lights. And I was like, well, yeah, that's
We
true.
do football differently.
We
here.
do.
Yes.
I thought we were pretty good in Oklahoma, and we are. You know, well, like we won the state championship my senior year. We had a really dang good team. But I show up at my first scrimmage down here as a coach, and I'm like, good gosh, who brought the high school or who brought the college kids? I mean, these guys were like 6'5", flying around, crushing people. I mean, it's a different world, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I did that for about 6 years. It was fun. It was crazy. My last 2 years, we were working at the high school level. We were working 7 days a week, 110 hours a week. No joke. Like I sit down, I averaged out my hourly, and we were teaching a full load as well too, in addition to the coaching. And I averaged out my hourly rate. We were making 36 cents an hour. I was like, yeah, time to go.
So what kind of two-a-days were you running to work those kind of hours?
I'm telling you, I mean, we had 5 a.m. coaching meetings Monday through Thursday. And then I was a JV and a varsity coach, so I had the JV games on Thursday night, right? So away games, you don't get home till like 2 in the morning, and then Friday night you don't get home at all. And then when you're back up there on Saturday morning, watching film, and then Sunday watching film. Like, I love football, but when I was coaching football, I could not watch football because I'm like, I've seen enough film. I just can't do this anymore. So it was. I mean, like I said, though, it was fun. It was crazy. Love the kids. Love the players. They were the best. You know, run across a couple of them every once in a while.
That is the best part.
Oh, yeah.
It's just those relationships with the kids where you just have that trusted voice in their ear, and you get to, you know, be that mentor, the one to develop and just kind of gently guide in the right direction.
Oh, yeah. And I had a couple guys that played in the NFL. 2 of them won 3 Super Bowls. One won a national championship with Texas. And it was kind of funny because it was just a Thursday night. You know, those Thursday night NFL games are kind of like that throwaway game. But it was the Ravens versus Falcons, and I had 2 guys facing each other. I think I'm the only one in the world that I knew I coached both of them. One was the left guard, one was the nose guard. Like, they just went at each other all night. And I'm up in my room watching it going, come on, man. Come on, Kelly. You know, like, you know, getting back into it. But it's kind of funny. It's like, I realized I'm probably the only person that realized, you know, in this whole wide world that realizes I've coached both of those guys, and they were going head to head in the NFL. And I thought it was pretty cool.
So you weren't watching the main action with the quarterback.
Totally. I don't even remember the score. I'm watching the trenches because I was an offensive and defensive line coach. So I'm just watching those guys get after it, you know.
Those refrigerators pound into each other.
Oh, yeah. They were huge.
And they've only gotten bigger since then.
Oh, my gosh. It's insane. It's insane.
So how in the world did you end up in the education world? Because unlike the 17 different realtors we've had on this podcast, you're more on the technology, the education, the equipping side of real estate. Yeah. How'd you end up in education after now, I just answered my own question, didn't I? It's just a different flavor of education, huh? It's all training. It's all education. And what was interesting was, you know, when I joined Allen ISD back in 1999, we go in for our teacher orientation, and they're like, hey, we're a tech progressive school. Teachers, you're gonna learn how to build a website and then teach the kids. You're gonna do this and do that. And we had teachers cry on the spot. We had one just quit on the spot. I'm in the back of the room as a history teacher going, man, I'm gonna get fired in a year. You know, like this is gonna be a rough year. But I learned how to go out and find my answers. And I think that's the benefit of being a tech instructor with a historical background is I had to learn it myself. So I can speak to 2 worlds. I can speak to the tech world. I can speak to the non-tech world. And I learned a ton from the kids. So when I got out in 2001, I got an opportunity to join a local title company in 2001. That the lady that hired me was a former teacher. They were looking for somebody to get all of their tech courses CE certified by the state of Texas. So I think I was either the first or the second one in the state of Texas to get CE courses certified for real estate agents. And so we started to train all over DFW. Then I joined a local real estate company, Keller Williams Realty. I mean, it's national, but I joined a local market center.
2004. And then I started to travel and train throughout the Keller Williams system for years. I was master faculty with them for about 9 years. So that meant we were exclusive within that world. But that gave me the opportunity to go out and, train in 48 different states and 6 different provinces of Canada and really see a ton of different experiences, different areas. And everybody always asks me, like, hey, where's your favorite place? And I'm like, well, I live in my favorite place. Like McKinney's the best place. I've seen it. I've seen the other side, right? And that's why we've been here for so many years.
Mm. So one of the things I want to hit in this episode is the technology side of things, because as we record this in 2026, we're at this inflection point in human history where generative AI, it's no longer just asking questions. It's no longer just a search engine of sorts. Like AI has taken on this entire persona of sorts where generative AI, agentic AI, where the AI is a bot that you're training to actually do something rather than just query it and it gives you information. It's no longer just an informative thing. Like we're talking about actual tasks being performed by a robot that you can train to do your bidding and have it attached to these third parties. So many people listening to this show, watching the show on YouTube, are completely intimidated by the whole thing because they go, hey, you know what? I check my email. I browse the web. I watch some videos on my YouTube or Vimeo or TikTok or Instagram or whatever it happens to be. I don't have any idea how in the world to use AI other than asking it to give me 12 recipes for what I've got in my fridge right now, or make a suggestion for what my family should do this weekend. How in the world, and let's just park here for a few minutes, how does someone get started making use of all these emerging technologies? How do you think they should begin to move beyond the recipes and the weekend suggestions? How do they learn? And I'd love to just get a little bit in the weeds on AI, what it can do, and the best way that people can kind of make sense of it. Because you're way down the rabbit hole. You know infinitely more than I do, and I'm pretty interested in this stuff. But you do it professionally every day. Right. So I'm going to sit back with my curiosity going, Michael, teach us AI. Like, how do we make sense of this thing?
So many different ways you can go. First off, again, from the historical aspect, everybody thinks that AI started with ChatGPT. It's been around for much longer than that. All right, AI's been used in a marketing point of view against us, right? When we go out to Facebook or whatever, and we do a couple searches, and then we get those related searches that come up, or you say something, or you mention something, and then all of a sudden they'll show up in the feeds, right? I mean, the devices are listening.
Absolutely,
let's be straight and honest on all that. They are listening, and so that is AI cultivating those relationships and cultivating those ad opportunities that are showing up. So it's been there for 10 years plus, right? ChatGPT hit the scene November 22. It just exploded. It went mainstream. People started to use it. It is a high-speed search engine, but it does so much more. And I tell everybody, one of the best ways, if you're just brand new into AI, just ask better questions, right? We're so accustomed to putting our Google brain on. Hey, Fred goes in and says, what's the weather today in McKinney? Just that singular prompt. Now I can go in and multi-layer prompts within all the AI systems, not just ChatGPT, but all of them. And there are certain AI systems that do things better than the rest, right? It's like we're watching a horse race. ChatGPT jumped out ahead. Right now, I think Gemini does a lot of things better, way better than ChatGPT, such as image creation. 1,000 times better, in my opinion. 6 months from now, it'll be something else that jumps ahead. So we're seeing this constant evolution. There's not like one system. There's not that one end-all, be-all type of system. And I think that also leads to confusion because people are like, oh my gosh, well, where do I start? What do I do? Well, you find one thing to move the needle. A very simple one that I train real estate agents on, and I tell them, use this in your listing presentations. We are empty nesters right now, right? Our kids are off to Texas Tech, guns up. And we're in that thin to win mode. Like we're going to thin out the closets, we're going to paint it, we're going to fix it. And when I train agents, I always say, I'm not looking to move agents. I'm just throwing that out there because as soon as you start saying that, they're like, well, hey, what?
Hitting you a card and shaking your hand.
The alert sign goes up in their brain. But my wife in the middle of the process goes, hey, do you have a list of all the things that we've done to improve the home? And I was like, well, it's about 4 years old now. Oh, hold up. So I got in the front yard, open up ChatGPT, which has the voice to dictate option, which, by the way, if you've never used the voice to text dictation options in these apps, they're amazing. They're spot on. And I said, okay, let's just describe everything I did in the front yard, first floor, second floor, backyard, just going through, making all my notes. And I said, okay, now put this in the easy to read, concise PDF, organize it, categorize it. 10 seconds later, it's done. Something simple like that. But I show that to the agents and I say, okay, make this part of your listing presentation. Walk out into the front yard with James. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, tell my assistant everything that you've done to improve this home during your ownership, right? Your period that you've lived here. Let's walk it. And then at the end of that, turn it to PDF, give it to you, and then tell them, hey, as a professional, I'm now going to go walk the same property. I'm going to make my own list. We're going to compare what you've done versus what I think you need to do to sell this at top dollar. And that blows their brains because there's, oh my gosh, I don't have to take all these notes. I don't have to do all this other type of stuff. No. So I think the easiest thing to do with AI is start from an efficiency point of view. Take away all of the 80% of the junk that you don't want to do. Let AI start to do that for you. That's the biggest thing.
You know, I'm just thinking about all the different profiles of people that listen to this show, from the professional moms that are listening in the vehicle when they drive somewhere, to the business owner who we know through Chamber, to someone who's just in the community that finds a particular guest. They might listen because their friend is the guest, and then they'll go back and find 3 or 4 other episodes that pique their interest. Every one of those profiles has a different use for AI.
For you, yeah, for
sure. For the professional mom, it may be something as simple as meal planning.
Yeah.
Of, hey, AI, this is what I have in my fridge right now. Help me make a meal plan for the next 4 days and don't repeat the same protein twice.
Yeah.
And I mean, shoot,
it'll do all that.
The more that it learns, the better it gets. Hey, I don't like Brussels sprouts, or this seasoning. My kids hate this seasoning. Do not suggest anything with this flavor profile.
Yeah.
Just as an example for the folks that are not business owners out there that might be thinking of some use for the personal life. Michael, in your personal life, how do you use AI that's not business related? Just give me 1 or 2 examples.
Well, okay, I'll give you a story. So 2008, I blew my knee out, tore my meniscus in 3 spots. I wish it was doing something cool. It was not. It was standing up on a desk to change a light at the house, and my knee exploded in 3 gunshots, just boom, boom, boom.
Wow.
And I'm hopping on the desk, one-legged upstairs. My son, who's little at the time, comes running up. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, go get your mom. I can't move, and they throw me down the stairs, throw me in the car, find out I tore my meniscus. I go in to meet the surgeon the next day. He's the guy that works on all of the Plano athletes. Never met this surgeon before in my life. And he's looking at my chart. He's doing this whole thing, looking at my chart, looking at me, really, really egging it on. And then finally puts the chart down and goes, time to lose weight, fat boy.
Wow.
And didn't say a word for a minute. And you're looking at the tiles, counting the dots in the tile after a while. I'm like, okay,
wow.
Fat boy, I get it. I was about 260 at the time. And he was right. And I went home. I had my knee all packed in ice. I was all pouty, called me fat boy, sat down in my comfortable chair, and I turned on the TV. And the first thing that comes on is a commercial that says, for every pound that you lose, it's 4 pounds of pressure off your knee. And I was like, wow, okay. I can be dense sometimes, but I'm picking up that signal, So I told my wife right then and there, no more blankety blank, blank, blank fast food. I'm not eating fast food. I'm going cold turkey. I'm done, right? And I did. I went cold turkey. And what I found out afterwards is that my body was going through the same type of withdrawals, similar withdrawals that somebody would if they were addicted to heroin and stuff like that, because your body's addicted to the grease and the salt and the sugar and all that stuff. And I lost 20 pounds the first month. Guys, we can go in our mind, I need to lose some weight. And we lose like 5 pounds. Like when I mentioned that, all the ladies that are listening to this, like, oh, shut up. 20 pounds. And
that's right.
My wife, every time I mention that, my wife's like, don't say that part. But it's true, guys. We can lose it. But I then started to, go, oh, okay. I think I've kind of unlocked something here. And so what I have focused on since 2008 is just improving a better version of me from a health point of view. I was Maha before Maha, I guess is what I'm trying to say is, like, I've cut out fast food for years. I've cut out soft drinks for years. Now, what AI has really done and helped me to amplify all that is now I use it for workout programs. I use it to scout. If we are going to go out and eat, I want to try to avoid places that use certain type of cooking oils. Like I want to go seed oil free. That's been a big thing for me as well too over the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So AI has definitely helped me with that, with specific apps for that. But you can also go out to any of the AI systems and say, show me all of the restaurants in the McKinney area that do not use this type of cooking oil, and the such. And that has been a huge part just from a personal use. We use that all the time.
But now there are people who have gotten bad information from AI.
Oh yeah.
So how do you,
Fred? That's never happened. No.
So
how do you filter
fake
through?
news, Fred.
How do you filter through all of that?
Well, so here's the crazy thing about that, and I talk about this in my classes too. Like again, my son's 23, my daughter's 18. They can't write cursive, and everybody's like, kind of laughs, like a nervous laugh, and I'm like, yeah, it wasn't taught in Texas, but now it's taught again. But there's a generational gap.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here going, okay, so why did they not do that? Right? Well, there's various reasons. But then I go back and I ask my people, so why, ask people that I'm training, why do you think they don't know cursive? I'm like, I don't know. I go, well, what's the laws of these lands written in? Oh, cursive, Declaration, Independence, U.S. Constitution. I'm like, yeah. So you can't read that. We'll tell you what's in it type situation.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be very careful, to your point, Fred, of just taking it as the gospel, right? The future generations of kids, their kids, AI is going to become their teacher. It's going to become their quote unquote book. We have to be mindful of the source material and not just take everything that we see online. We've known that for years, but now with AI, and back to your point, James, a lot of stuff is being created that we can't tell the difference between reality and AI. And we talk about this in my training sessions as well too, is we got to be very mindful of the messages that are being put out there about business, but just in general, because again, in my opinion, not a lawyer, but in my opinion, within 10 years, video is not going to be allowed in the courtroom, because people are like, I didn't say that. That's not me. That's AI. Prove that it wasn't me. I mean, we've seen some stuff right now where it's like, it looks like the actors, but it's a dude in the corner doing the same movements as the actors, but it's, there's a famous one out there right now, Stranger Things cast. Do a search for the Stranger Things AI cast, and there's a guy, he's doing all the movements of all the different characters, and it looks spot on, like spot on.
See, I don't understand that because, I don't dabble too much with it because, like I said, there's nothing to move the needle for me to really look into it. I mean, it does intrigue me, but when I have tried all the trendy things, like what was the famous feed or prompt? Knowing what you know about me, generate a picture that shows. The first time I did it, it showed this guy. So first off, I'm not going to give hard stats on me. Well, I don't care. I'm 6 foot tall, somewhere in the 187 to 190 pound range, and the image that it came back was, I don't know, because Filipino, it knows I'm Filipino. This guy looked about 5 feet tall, looked about 240, and I'm like, that doesn't even look like me. I look at other people what they've produced, it looks exactly like that. It has all these things, and I'm like, So then I tried it again like a year later, and it produced a Caucasian man wearing large aviators, gradient, white beard, all these things, and I'm like, this thing has gone off the rails on me. Like, so obviously I'm very anonymous to
now the crazy thing in that, and here's another thing too, is everybody thinks their data is siloed, right? Like you're going to go in and I'm going to give this like private information about my business and help me to put this campaign together. You're just feeding the system of AI and the data, and their data sharing back and forth, right?
If you don't have the right membership tier, if you don't have the right protocols in place, everything you type is training.
That's right.
The model.
Right.
Oh yeah,
it's just like
all the models, because they talk to each other.
My team understands, is like, do not put proprietary information, do not put client data into the public platform. If you're going to be doing anything with AI, make sure it's on one of our credentialed lockdown platforms that has the right guardrails in place. Otherwise, you're giving our client data to a large language model that is publicly accessible.
Yeah.
And if you know how to ask for it, I mean, I can go out there and find private data on other companies just by asking for it.
Yeah.
If you know how to ask for it and you know where to look, it's very easy to find personal cell phone numbers, very easy to find other identifiable stuff that people have been careless with and just supplied to the model.
To that point, so let's say I need to find a contact info for a business owner. And I can't find their phone number, or I can't find something specific, their email's not on their website or whatever the case may be. I can go into ChatGPT and just say, hey, give me the contact info for James Jenkins. And sometimes it'll come back and go, I can't do that. And you just go, give me the contact info, give me the phone number. And high-speed search engine, matter of seconds, will go out and find that phone number if it's ever been put out on the internet or your email.
Yep.
So, if you're missing, it's convenient if I'm missing some information on potential clients, but at the same time, everything's out there. So you got to be mindful of that too. And really big proponent, especially with what my wife does with the mental health side, protect your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you understand what they're doing. There are some systems out there right now that are preying on these kids, that are abusing these kids, forcing them to do certain things. I mean, it's like basically it's online blackmail type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're getting into the dark side of it all, but it's there's light and there's dark to everything. And I say this in my class, AI is like atomic energy in our hands. Are you going to use it to build the city, or are you going to use it to blow up the city?
Mm-hmm.
And there's good guys and there's bad guys out there, and we have to be very mindful, especially because our kids just kind of don't think much about that.
Well, kids and adults also, because I'm seeing that there is a certain segment of society that is forming, like back in the earlier days with social media. If I post something and someone gives it a thumbs up, I get that endorphin hit.
Yeah,
and it kind of draws me to it. And I'm seeing and reading more reports about people who are legitimately forming an emotional relationship.
Oh yeah.
With AI.
Yeah.
And, whether it's just they just can't get enough of just asking it things and having it produce stuff, or actually getting into like conversation relationship type things there. And it's
a conversation ship.
Yes.
There's you see all the crazy stories. There's the lady that married an AI system.
Yes.
Right?
I read about that and I was like, this is insanity.
Yeah.
Well, they made a movie called Her.
Yeah.
And it was literally a movie of a guy who falls in love with an AI avatar.
Yep.
And how dysfunctional and broken he became.
Yeah.
You want to talk about mental health?
Well,
that movie's like a case study of
totally.
mental health gone awry.
And I train a lot on tech, and I tell everybody, go touch grass, right? Go get fresh air.
Touch grass.
Get away from it. And but the problem is, some of these kids that are younger, that's all they do all day long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's not good for your mental health.
Because the movie Wall-E came out, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Like 10 years ago now. And I remember thinking, well, that's horrible that people are just caught up in their, hovering lazy boy recliner with their screen of personally curated whatever that's on there. And in some aspects, I see where, this could be beneficial to have all of this information at hand, or entertainment at hand, and I want to ask about Hollywood and the future of the entertainment industry. But, at what point do we, put some firm and hard guardrails in there saying, this is not good for certain ages, or this is not good. There should be an exposure level. Like, you shouldn't be out in direct sunlight under the UV 12 hours a day because that's bad for you.
Right.
Where does that come into play?
Well, right now with AI, it's literally the Wild West, right? It's all things. It's just whatever you want to do. It's kind of like when drones first came out. Everybody could go buy a drone. Anybody could fly it anywhere. And then, of course, now you got restrictions about where you can fly, and you got to get pretty much a license. You got to be certified for certain height flights on your drone. We're going to have some type of guardrails, but right now there are no guardrails. It's just who's first to the market with this. That's been the focus, and that's the scary part. That's the scary part. There's shiny objects that go with it too, and that's the part that kind of distracts some people. But if we take this back to a business owner, there are so many different things that you could do. Even a photographer can go in and start to use this, because you could line out your marketing that you're going to do for the whole year. Hey, Fred, you need to make sure that you go to the McKinney Chamber X amount of times. Here's what you need to say. Here's what you need to do. Like, for people who are not comfortable with doing that, it can become your business coach. It can become your marketing plan. It can become an accountability partner. It can become, your fitness coach. It can become your nutrition guidance. I mean, there's so many things.
Man, I'm trying to think of how to make this applicable to just the general audience member. Is there thought leaders out there on different platforms? Is there educational stuff? Have you created stuff that is designed for the beginner, designed for people that are curious, that are interested in the power, the utility, the novelty of the whole thing, but who get completely overwhelmed and go, I don't even know where to start. So I'm just going to not start, because it makes me uncomfortable to think about how much I don't know.
Paralysis by analysis.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
How do you suggest someone begin to understand? Is it just, hey, pick that one thing like we talked about earlier in the episode? How do you decide what one thing is? And it sounds like there's just 1,000 different vendors. The AI models, the ones that I'm familiar with, in no particular order, just off the top of my head, obviously ChatGPT, and then my preferred model is Claude right now. Right. Then Gemini, and then Grok, which is the X one, from Elon, and then Perplexity. Yep. Those are the 5 that I'm familiar with.
Those are the big 5, right?
Is there anybody else?
There's others, but those are the ones that have jumped
level.
No, not really.
That's the 5.
Yeah.
Okay. So if someone wants to get familiar with just the 5 the big models, and what they're really good at, is there anywhere to just kind of roadmap this thing of, hey, if this is the sort of thing you think you might want to do with AI, this platform, this model, this paid membership is going to be better, quote unquote. And I know that changes from one month to another, as seen here with, ChatGPT's 5.4. Yeah. Suddenly it's surpassed Claude Opus 4.6. It's like, there's just horse race, like you said.
Yeah, just another horse to the front.
Yeah. So for now, it is a certain thing. For those in our audience that are really curious and want to get better informed, what's the best way to start taking bites from the apple?
Well, the best way, in my opinion, come to my classes. That's what I do.
Even if we're not a real estate agent?
Doesn't matter.
So this is general member of the public?
Yeah. Like, I had one class in Oklahoma City. We had a pastor, a photographer, a doctor, a lawyer, and real estate agents in the room. It's like I'm setting up a joke.
Wow.
They all walk into a bar.
Is this a YMCA song?
Yeah, pretty much, right? But I mean, it's open and to everybody. And the person who made an extra $500,000 in 1 year to the bottom line using Google tools was a non-real estate agent that came to my class. And so my classes, you can find them on my website, which is michaeltritthart.com. And I'm actually doing one later today in Salina. It's in person or it's Zoom in many cases. So for those that are like stay-at-home moms that are trying to run their own business and can't come in person, they can join us via Zoom in many of the cases and learn not just on AI, but I teach on video marketing. I teach on Google. I teach on business growth. I've got about 60 hours of content that's certified by the state of Texas and 9 other states for real estate. So, examples that you'll hear in the class are going to be real estate specific primarily. But if I know I'm teaching to the McKinney Chamber, then of course we're going to use examples that are going to be open to everybody.
Do you have anything planned with the Chamber coming up?
Yeah, we actually are in the midst of a 4-part series with them. We've done 3 of them. We've got a 4th part coming up in June. And then we're talking to the Chamber about, and those are 1-hour presentations, but we're talking to the Chamber about bringing in the 2 to 3 hour long workshops. So when I go out of town, like 1st of February, I spent a week training in the Carolinas. We do day-long workshops, and I phrase it as tell, show, do. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to show you. Now you're going to go out and do it. And so that's the part that they love, because they bring their laptops, they bring their tablets, they apply the technique right then and there. Because if you sit all day and you listen to an instructor, you're like, oh, that was great, that was fun. I won't do that.
And you don't ever deploy it.
No.
Yeah.
That's my football coaching mentality. It's like, hey, we're going to write this play up on the whiteboard. Now let's go out on the field and let's go do it, like right now. Let's get some muscle memory. And so I had somebody who came to my Google business profile. So we're talking a lot about AI. Google's got a lot of suites of services, and Google Business Profile is is the number one most underutilized tool for any business owner out there. And I had somebody come to my Google class last June, apply a technique in the class that literally took them about 5 minutes. And this is a real estate agent who did it. 24 hours later, gets a call from an investor in California. She's like telling me later, like, I thought this was a spam call. This surfer dude from California was like all super excited that he found me because he was looking for an investor that worked in the Collin County area. And she's like, okay, yeah, this is kind of weird. In her mind, she's like, this is kind of weird. But she hung with it. They ended up closing on a $2.1 million deal in November. And she's like, 5 minutes worth of work to get a lead that turned into $2.1 million. She's like, this is crazy. I'm like,
that's a pretty good ROI.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, where's my tip jar?
That's right.
Yeah.
How many times a week do you want to do that?
Yeah. But I mean, she's not the only one. I mean, I hear these stories all the time, right?
So can I just hard pivot to McKinney? Because I know Michael's got a lot of other stuff going on. Kind of as we start to land the plane, what else is big and important in your life? You're super involved in McKinney. You've done a lot of things in the last 25 years. I think we've talked AI to death.
Yeah.
What else is important to Michael Tritthart? What are you into?
So, the biggest thing for me is family, right? Our kids are 23, they're 18, so they're off to tech. We want to make sure that they're on a good path, and they are. My son Jake, he's already got his job secured. As soon as he graduates, he's going to Ernst & Young in Fort Worth. So we're excited about that.
Big Four, okay,
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so he's going to be an auditor. And my daughter Ava is focused on physical therapy. Both industries that I think are AI proof at this point. And we did consider that, right? When we did sit down with them and say, hey, you need to think about that. But what really is a huge thing for not only myself but also my wife is making sure that we're taking our educational tools, because she's a great instructor on the mental health side, knows a ton of stuff. And really starting to apply that locally and trying to help out with the services. That's why I was excited about us, getting the McKinney Chamber sessions put together, and hopefully we got some more coming up.
Yeah.
We go to Oaks Church, so we're looking to try to get some sessions at Oaks for some of the members there as well too. So really, it's the gift of our education, our training. We want to spread that to other business owners and have them have that success. Because truly, I am a teacher. I am an educator, and I get the biggest joy out of watching the success in others from somebody who's come to the classes and applied and moved the needle in their business.
I'm still, I know we moved from.
Are you going to digress?
I do not want to digress. I do not want to digress.
I permit you to digress if you wish.
I have gotten the blessing. So you mentioned early on about using AI voice to text, or voice prompting, basically.
Yes.
And you also mentioned that, potentially, just personal opinion, that video will not be allowed in the courtroom at some point. Do you believe, or do you feel, or rather, whichever, that because we are feeding so much information to the machine, that at some point our identities, or we are at the point now where our identities are no longer ours? Yeah. That there's a real threat that we could be replaced.
It's a blurred reality. I think there was a strike in Hollywood a couple years ago, and it was mainly because they saw what was coming. Mm-hmm. Like the screenwriters were striking, but then the actors got involved in all that. We're going to have Indiana Jones movies for 50 years,
mm-hmm.
and it's going to be the Indy from Raiders of the Lost Ark, mm-hmm. because it's going to be all AI generated.
And the fan-made films they're
amazing.
Offshoots.
Yeah, they are.
Like some of the stuff, I'm just like, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. It's just like some guy with a computer made this.
Okay, I'm going to geek out a little bit on Star Wars because, that was my jam when I was a kid. It came out when I was like 5, Star Wars was amazing. And somebody, like you just said, went out and did an AI fight scene between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm like, that is 1,000 times better than anything that was in the movie. I'm like, I wish that was in the movie.
Yeah.
So we're going to see some stuff that is wild. And that is, I like that part because now it opens up the door to so many different creators that would never have that opportunity to do something like that.
So in potential, you're saying is that Hollywood potentially could be replaced on its last breath.
Yeah.
Or the current actors that are popular right now are the ones that are going to be immortalized forever
Yeah.
because, Tom Cruise is getting older.
Yeah.
But people will still turn up for a Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible
17.
275.
Yeah, that's right. Or, Fast and Furious, whatever.
500.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so
The phrase. So I cut you off.
No.
Finish your sentence.
It's like, no, I'm just thinking that, the landscape of things, and I'd mentioned it earlier with the whole Wall-E thing, is that I no longer need to wait for blockbuster movies to come out because I can script it and have it all done right there. Yeah. And the potential for me from my hovering lazy boy Wall-E style to, make some serious bank is right there.
I agree. Now, another kind of a flip to that as well, too, is business owners still need to press the flesh. They still need to have that personal touch.
Yeah.
Don't let AI totally replace you in your business.
1,000%.
It's an amplification.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amplification of you, right? But you still have to have that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
The reverse side of this, the dark side, if you will, from people that are very, 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 very against, violently against this whole conversation of innovation is, well, James, you don't understand. This technology will ruin economies. It will ruin entire professions. It will ruin entire industries. Tens of thousands of people will find themselves unemployed because jobs that they used to do are now done faster, less expensively, more accurately, more efficiently by a machine. To which I say, yeah, they will. Just like the automobile made the horse guy obsolete. Yeah. But you know what the horse guy did? He went out and got a new skill, and he became a different thing, an evolution of the thing he was before. Is AI going to replace people? Some people, yeah. What it's really going to do, and this is my opinion here, is force humanity, in a general sense, to think about skills differently.
Yeah.
And it's going to cause us to think about labor differently. The economy that my kids inherit 15, 20 years from now is going to be so vastly different than every economy that came before, because so many different jobs that throughout the last 100 years of human history have been performed by humans, paid money to do a certain task. Those humans are no longer paid to do that particular task because that is now ubiquitous and done by some robot somewhere. But the human that used to do that is forced to innovate in some way, to learn some new skill, to find some different way to contribute value so that they can get a paycheck from someone. And then obviously the natural conclusion of this is there's no money in Star Trek. In the year 2200, there is no such thing as money.
Right.
The entire way, and this is, I don't mean to like woo-woo somebody, but the entire way that we think about labor and economies and deliverables and value and monetary systems, we're going to have to rethink all of that in the next 40 or 50 years, because the entire concept of labor that is paid for with some sort of consideration, what do we do when the AI gets put into a robot? Because people are talking about, the trade contractors everyone's rushing to blue collar jobs because AI can't do a blue collar job like it can crunch numbers and build a spreadsheet or do taxes or whatever. It's like AI can't fix your HVAC. Not yet. But when they build that Boston Dynamics robot and put an AI brain inside that robot and teach it to fix the HVAC machine 10 years from now, all the blue collar jobs are going to start being threatened too.
Yeah.
And it's like,
to that point, I was walking into a building in Plano, and I was going to do a training session, and it was a glass building, and there's like 20 people out in the parking lot just kind of staring up at the building, and I'm like, what am I missing? And so I walk out, and it was the window cleaners, but it wasn't the window cleaners that we expected.
Robotic.
It was AI. It was drones, and they were controlling it, right? And one was spraying, and one was washing and wiping and cleaning, and it was just two guys running the units, right? And then roofing, I've seen this before. I haven't seen it locally, but I've seen it where it's a 3-man crew, 2 guys on the roof, 1 on the bottom, and they have like a robotic arm that comes up the side of the house, and they just load the shingles, and the robotic arm just lays them down, and the 2 guys pop, and they're done. So you don't have 20 guys up on the roof. You got 3.
Yep.
2 on the roof, but 3 total.
And all you've got is a shingle-vator, as they call it.
Yeah.
Shingle. I kid you not. It's a product called the shingle-vator. It's literally, you put it next to the house, you load a pallet of shingles on there, and it puts up to the roof.
We're gonna see massive changes in agriculture, right? And efficiency. changes.
Mm-hmm.
In the short term, we have a lot of data centers that need to be built. Now, there's the pros and cons on the data centers and what that's going to do to the environment and how much water is
The
needed for
electricity
that.
grid.
The electricity.
Yeah.
People are complaining now about, oh my gosh, my electricity bill is quadrupled and all the other type of stuff. But so in the short term, we need like 600,000 electricians in the next 10 years. That's what they've said.
Yep.
It'll be interesting, kind of getting into the Star Trek world. This is not financial advice, but SpaceX, Elon has talked about putting data centers in space, and SpaceX is going public supposedly later this year. So
I mean, what a way to keep things cool.
Yeah, I mean that's the coldest place to keep
That's
it.
right.
Right?
Gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I friggin' love that idea.
Yeah,
If it's not water cooled, there's no impact on the infrastructure.
Right. Yep.
There's no impact on the water table. The solar panels have such greater efficiency in space because the atmosphere doesn't diffuse the actual electrons that are needed to power the solar. It's like putting the data center in space is brilliant.
Yeah.
There's so many positives. It's like, okay, well, can we do that faster?
I know.
Elon, can we make that happen now, please?
Well, if you've looked at his track record, it's probably happening sooner than later. Based on everything he's done.
He's probably running like little betas on the Starlinks.
Yeah, he's
They're
probably
out
been
there.
working on it for years, and we're just now hearing about it.
Most people don't realize that the Starlink grid of satellites is like 5,000 Starlink satellites orbiting our planet right now, providing wireless internet to basically the entire planet. If you have a Starlink box, you can have high-speed internet literally anywhere on Earth. It is just the most insane thing.
So going down the woo-woo, right? We're heading back to energy. This is, again, my opinion. We're heading back to energy that we've always had, not just with Tesla, the company, but with Nikola Tesla, right?
Oh, yeah.
Again, former
dude.
historian here. I'm going to kind of nerd out on history. But he's created some energy opportunities that I think we're going to start to see here very soon, where you're going to be able to actually power your phone up from the energy in the ether.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be wild. You don't want to have to plug anything in.
People don't realize Tesla in 1880 something passed electrical current through 17 miles of dirt.
Yeah. Cracked a building.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Sorry, we don't have any time at all for this podcast. Yeah. But it's like if you want to talk about one single human who probably was the most ahead of his time.
Oh yeah.
Other than maybe Isaac Newton. I mean, Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, obviously a century or two ahead of his time. It was like Nikola Tesla, man.
So that's the part I really like when I teach is I can take the historical aspect and tie it to the technology that we're seeing today. Mm-hmm. It's all kind of coming full circle, and it's kind of wild.
Can you imagine if Nikola Tesla had access to stuff we have today? Like, what would he be able to come up with?
Honestly, I think a lot of the stuff that we have was built off of his technology in the very beginning. So he would just be ducking water because it would be right there with him.
Yeah,
it's
and
kind of wild.
Never got credit for his ideas.
No.
Thomas Edison, awful thief that he was. Took all of Nikola Tesla's ideas, passed them off as himself, and made himself a multi-millionaire.
He wanted it for the humanity aspect. Tesla did. He didn't really want to do it for the money part. And he got bulldozed on that.
Yeah, there's some conspiracy theories out there about like no. And of course, a lot of that.
We got to charge for that. You want to give that away for free? No. We got to charge for that.
The fact that Tesla died alone and destitute is just one of humanity's greatest tragedies.
All of his boxes. But then not all of the boxes were returned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Folks,
we just kind of mini rabbit trailed there. If you want a wild story, go down the rabbit hole of Nikola Tesla and his life story, his apprenticeship with Thomas Edison. It is easily one of the most compelling biographies in human history.
And it even ties back to Bitcoin. You bring it back full circle. Because I'm going to butcher his quote, but to understand the power of the universe, you have to understand the power of 369, right? That's the mathematical equation that Tesla was talking about. Bitcoin is built on that mathematical equation of 369.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the Satoru Yashimoto or whatever, like the
Satoshi?
Satoshi.
Yes. Very much in his papers and stuff like that. People have gone down that rabbit trail as well too.
Yeah.
So again, all this stuff in the history in our textbooks, we're pulling it to the forefront. And in my opinion, we live in a very exciting time. We're seeing things that other generations have never seen before. Mm-hmm. And it's scary, creepy, awesome, weird, and amazing all at once. You know.
I don't know if there's a better way to end the
I
episode.
have no idea.
Why don't you hit him with that final question, Fred?
Okay. Completely tech-free.
Okay.
Who would win in a fight between a giant polar bear and a great white shark? They're in a body of water 6 feet deep of infinite dimensions. There's no shallow end, there's no sandbar, there's no get out of the pool, any of that stuff. Who wins in that fight?
And it's 6 feet deep.
6 feet deep.
Polar bear's 12 feet tall, in case you're wondering.
Yes. I have an innate fear of sharks because I saw Jaws 2 when I was a kid. It scared me to death. I hate sharks. I think the polar bear wins because the shark is the element of surprise. And I don't think there's enough element of surprise in 6 feet of water.
Excellent.
I think the great white, they like to attack from beneath.
Huh.
So
I feel like I've heard that before, Fred. Attacking from beneath.
Well, you know, we might have to modify the question,
Yeah.
in 10 feet of water.
There you go.
Well, if it's in 10 feet of water, I am also on Team Shark.
Yeah. I changed. 6 feet. And I know people have been attacked in 6 feet. I get it. But a great white likes to hit from underneath.
That's right.
So
I don't know if there would be a Team Polar Bear if it's 10 feet of water.
That's right.
no,
No.
not at all.
No.
Oh, excellent.
Man, I knew this was going to be an interesting episode because you have a very eclectic backstory. You've got an eclectic job. You're the definition of an innovator just by the very nature of what you do. I guarantee you will see me in one of your classes
Awesome.
in the next few weeks, months. Whenever I can find the calendar, I
Sure.
will be sitting there very gladly having my AI transcription of your conversation so I can have the summaries later because I don't have to have pen and paper.
Yeah. Anybody can join us. MichaelTritthart.com/events to see all the schedules, all the courses of upcoming events.
Fantastic. And folks, if you have no idea about half what we talked about today, probably is a good indicator you should follow Michael on social media and come to one of his events. You can join me there. We can sit together and just geek out. This has been another episode of the McKinney Podcast, celebrating what makes us unique by nature. We'll catch you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all take care. Thanks again for listening to and watching the McKinney Podcast. We drop a brand new episode every Monday morning. We'd love to connect with you and hear your thoughts, suggestions, and guest recommendations. You can message us on Facebook or send an email to us at mail@mckinneypodcast.com. This entire production is a passion project for James and Fred and our lovely wives, Elizabeth and Allison. We're so grateful to have you along for the journey. We look forward to seeing you again next week and hopefully in person around town. That's all for now, ladies and gentlemen. Make it a great day.